Creative Babble.
Hey guys, today I have a special episode, a special announcement that I'm going to make. You'll hear it shortly, but I wanted to let you know that I am working on some breaking news, 2 new LaDonna Humphrey episodes. It is breaking news, so I'm putting it together as we speak, so have patience. Of course, my Patreon and Pretend Plus supporters on Apple Podcasts will be the first ones to hear it. As soon as I finish it, I'll publish it. But for the rest of us, hang tight because on Tuesday, you will have the first part 17 of Who's Afraid of LaDonna Humphrey. We're going to be discussing some pretty major breaking news in regards to her case with her former employer, Anthony Christopher. All right, well, without further ado, let's play today's episode. Hey guys, it's me, Javier. I have an important announcement to make. A big deal, I think, in my book. Pretend is joining a new network called True Story Media with my favorite indie podcaster, Andrea Dunlop, with the podcast Nobody Should Believe Me. Andrea, tell everybody about this partnership and how we got to teaming up.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, thank you for saying that I'm your favorite indie podcaster. That is high praise coming from you. I am so excited to have you on board with True Story Media, which is my new burgeoning podcast network. We are dedicated specifically to ethically made true crime content. So we are really trying to carve out a space in this industry and in this genre for, for shows like yours, for shows like Pretend that are, made with journalistic integrity, that are, that are putting something helpful and useful out into the world and obviously keeping us entertained and locked in the whole time. Not everyone approaches this material the same way that I do, so I am just trying to band together a group of us that do, and obviously I have had my eye on you since the beginning. I'm so excited for this new collaboration. I really couldn't be more thrilled.
I am too. Throughout the 8 years of podcasting, I've been approached many times to join networks, and I never wanted to because I never really fit in with the true crime podcast. My show's not bloody and guts and all that stuff. And your show and my show, I feel like we're brother and sister shows because we approach it the same way, with a lot of curiosity, with journalistic intrigue. We're like chased down rabbit holes. I mean, right before this call, you were saying that you spent the day going down a rabbit hole. That's what we do. And I think that's what our listeners appreciate. And so when you offered me this opportunity, I thought this was a no-brainer because my audience would love to listen to your show and your audience would love to listen to my show just because we approach it the same way. So that's awesome. But that's not why we're here today. We are here because you just launched season 6 of Nobody Should Believe Me, right? Season 6, it's nuts.
Yeah, it feels like we have been moving at a really fast clip, but I am very, very proud of the work we've done on this season in particular. This was by far our most ambitious story that we've told, just in terms of its complexity and the seriousness of the implications. It's a story that really demonstrates the failures of every system that's meant to protect kids from this abuse, and just sort of at a level that I haven't quite seen before.
Well, I mean, and you warned me because I'm, binging it now, that it's pretty heavy stuff, but it's really important work. And I think, it's something that everyone should listen to. So why don't we just play the first episode of season 6 of Nobody Should Believe Me? And we'll circle back after the episode to close us out. Does that sound good?
Sounds great. Before we begin, a quick warning that in this show, we discuss child abuse, and this content may be difficult for some listeners. If you or anyone you know is a victim or survivor of medical child abuse, please go to munchausensupport.com to connect with professionals who can help.
Well, here we are. It's crazy. I was like, this feels so surreal.
Where would you like to begin?
I don't know. I don't know. Where do you begin?
Meet my friend, Michelle. Michelle lives in a small town in Georgia with her husband where she works as a hairdresser. But despite her baby face and ever-changing rainbow hair, Michelle has the kind of wisdom that can come from surviving a series of unimaginable horrors.
Why? Why like me with something I can't overcome?
Because you can. Because Mama, please listen. You're asking me to listen to you. Please listen to me.
For most of her life, Michelle has been living under the weight of her family's terrible secrets. A story that only a small group of confidants and licensed professionals have known about. The long and complicated saga of her mother, Lisa McDaniel, is one Michelle and I have been talking about covering on this podcast for years.
Please listen to me.
Okay, I will, but here's what I want to say first. Munchausen by proxy is something that even Bjorker says you cannot recover from.
And she doesn't even agree with that anymore, Mama. She doesn't even agree with that anymore.
She got in my courtroom and said that, and it ruined
You're
my
right.
fucking life.
And we
ruined my damn life.
We can leave Bjorker out of this. That's what I'm telling you. Y'all didn't hear me when I said it the first time, but I'm serious. I have talked to everybody and Bjorker, and I literally told her at one point that I didn't want to speak to her anymore because I needed distance from her, because I knew how you felt about her. You have talked about her for years, and I tried to understand your point of view going into this whole thing. I am here in your living room because I have empathy for you, and I believe that there is good in you. And I love you. I would not be sitting here right now if I didn't feel that way.
Coming forward wasn't an easy choice for Michelle. There has been a heavy silence over the horrifying events that have reverberated throughout generations of her family. But that silence ends today.
Where do you begin? This
season on Nobody Should Believe Me, we're covering the complicated story of Lisa McDaniel, her husband Carrie, and their 3 children, Michelle, Angelin, and Colin, and attempting to unravel what happened, whether this is a story of a medical mystery or a different sort of mystery altogether. People believe their eyes. That's something that is so central to this topic because we do believe the people that we love when they're telling us something. If we didn't, you could never make it through your day. I'm Andrea Dunlop, and this is Nobody Should Believe Me.
This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Summer's almost out and fall's calling. Luckily, Nordstrom has everything you need for the season ahead, all under $100. Discover new arrivals from your favorite brands like Mango, Princess Polly, Wave, Free People, BDG, and more. Whether you're planning a last-minute getaway, heading back to class, or refreshing your office looks, you'll find the latest trends and beauty must-haves without breaking your budget. It's easy, too, with free shipping, free returns, and in-store order pickup. Shop today, in stores, and at Nordstrom.com.
I got home last night and Brent's like, so how are you feeling? And I was like, I'm so nervous. I think it's really normal to be nervous.
Michelle and I first met when we were part of the pilot support group for Munchausen Support, the nonprofit organization that I founded in 2021. These days, my mentor, B. Yorker, a professor emerita and longtime psychiatric nurse, is the sitting president. I still serve on the board, and Michelle is getting involved in the work as well. B has been devoted to this cause for decades, and she's the one who brought Michelle and I together. Michelle and B reconnected many years after the events that first brought B into the McDaniels' lives.
You and I talked a little bit about things when I first contacted you, and that was 2019, I believe, after we found the records.
Yes,
I believe
that's how I first even learned that your sister was still alive, that you were okay, and I gave the nurse, the NICU nurse, my email information, and I said I would love to hear from both of the girls.
What do you hope for with Michelle coming forward with her story publicly, really for the first time? What do you hope that can accomplish?
What I hope is that when the general public and when child abuse professionals hear from somebody's lived experience, that it is so much more impactful than reading data in a book. So I want you to be able to share your emotional reactions to your journey of coming to this place where now, you're, oh my gosh, you're just blossoming and you're resilient and you're amazing. And it's not because, you had a safe childhood.
You proud of Michelle?
Oh my gosh, I'm so proud. So proud.
Most of what can readily be found online about Michelle's mom and the woman at the center of this season, Lisa McDaniel, relates to her work as the director of patient advocacy for a nonprofit called the Guthrie-Jackson Foundation.
How are y'all doing? Did y'all enjoy our breakout sessions today? I encourage you to call up your primary care physician. Use your family and friends who may work at medical offices. Ask for referrals. Get out there, knock on doors, and don't give up until you get someone who will let you in their office to tell them more about NMO. You do not have to be a public speaker. You just have to be able to talk to your doctor, talk to their staff, and just share your story. Because as Christine just told you, she has a story. But guess what? Each one of us in this room have our own story.
That's Lisa McDaniel presenting at the Guthrie-Jackson Foundation's NMO Patient Day. NMO, or neuromyelitis optica, is a rare autoimmune disease. Lisa is in her mid-50s with a youthful round face and the red hair that she passed along to her 3 children. You'd never know from her carefully crafted public image that Lisa has done jail time for child abuse. Rather, her image centers on her advocacy around NMO and her work at the foundation. Work which, as it says in her bio, was informed by her own experiences as a caregiver for her son.
My son Colin was 5 years old when he had his first symptom of vision loss in 2007.
We're gonna go in here and get some stuff we talked about done, okay? Or they're gonna take pictures and see how the blood works in your body, okay?
Colin's always been healthy, never had problems. He just lost his vision completely in about 2 days. We ended up coming to Birmingham, Alabama, to the Center for Pediatric Onset Demyelinating Diseases, and saw Dr. Jane Ness there. She told us neuromyelitis optica, and we had never heard of it. She explained to us that it used to be thought it was a severe form of multiple sclerosis, that it's a very difficult disease, and proceeded to tell us that there could be times where Colin could be paralyzed in the future, he could lose his vision again, and just varying degrees of disability that he could have.
This video begins with a shot of Lisa and her husband Carrie walking their son Colin down a hospital hallway in a wheelchair, then cuts to a professionally shot interview of Lisa in a leopard print blazer and a statement necklace.
Dr. Ness wants to talk to you, babe.
I gotta do a couple of things. I'm gonna do as quick as I can, but I gotta look in your eyes, okay? I know you feel awful.
The other voice you hear in this clip is Dr. Jane Ness, the pediatric neurologist who diagnosed Lisa's son Colin with NMO. The picture Lisa presents online is of a gentle, soft-spoken Southern mom whose mighty struggles as the mother of a sick child led to her career as a dedicated advocate for other families. But nothing about Lisa is what it seems. Lisa McDaniel has worked very hard to bury her past. But that's the thing about the truth. You can spin it, you can push it down, but it has a way of catching up to you. A life built on lies just isn't very durable. Because sooner or later, someone might come along and put all the pieces together.
I don't know how this is going to land, and I know you're probably not going to understand it. I've been in some support groups for probably 2 or 3 years, and a really close friend of mine runs a podcast, and she asked me to go on her podcast and kind of talk about everything that we grew up with, and I agreed to do it. I hope that it will be an opportunity to kind of air some things out and heal from a lot of things that I still don't have answers to. I know there's been some things, and it's not all old stuff for me, but I just wanted to let you know before any of it came out or happened, because I do love you and I do have respect for you, and I didn't want it to just be out there and you find it somewhere and have that.
So did you give any consideration to what this is going to do to Angel's life, to your daddy's life, to my life?
This is Michelle talking with her mother, Lisa.
I have. 1,000%. I have.
Because you could literally be taking away our income and everything. You could literally be ruining everything that we've worked hard for, that I've tried to overcome and work hard for after all these years.
You can literally take our whole entire life away if you don't understand that.
Well, I'm not here to hurt you.
Feels that way.
But I'm not.
Because you've always been very rebellious your whole entire life.
Mama. All I'm asking is some accountability. Nobody is irredeemable.
I mean, what do you want? Access to all my medical records? Like,
No, I don't know, Mama, but I don't believe you and I don't trust you. And if you're and
it
if
doesn't matter what I say, you're not gonna believe it.
I've been gaslit my whole life by anybody and everybody. Things still don't make sense to me.
They're never going to, Michelle.
Don't, because you have lied to us.
Yeah, I have.
I mean,
just like you've lied to me, he's lied to us, she's lied to us.
You're right. I have lied to you, but I have not lied to you to that point, and that is not the same thing.
Lying is a lie.
I understand a lie is a lie, but a lie is very different when you are causing yourself direct harm or causing the children in your life direct harm.
I did. I exaggerated it. Does that mean it's much housing by proxy? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But here's the thing. Why label me with something? Why? Why label me with something I can't overcome?
Because you can. Because, Mama, please listen. You're asking me to listen to you. Please listen to me.
The story we're covering this season gets at many of the core questions of this show. How do you cope with the truth when the truth is unfathomable? Can dragging long hidden horrors into the light help us heal, bring us peace, even maybe reconcile with those who've harmed us? Or are there things that, even for the most compassionate among us, simply can't be forgiven?
This episode is brought to you by the world's first reposado from Tequila Herradura. Made with slow-cooked, hand-harvested agave sealed into oak barrels and aged 11 months. Before being enjoyed in your glass. Experience the world's first reposado. Tequila Herradura. Please drink responsibly. Responsibility.org. Tequila Herradura. 40% alcohol by volume. Imported by Brown-Forman, Louisville, Kentucky. Herradura is a registered trademark. Copyright 2025 Brown-Forman Corporation.
It's Wednesday Addams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday, Season 2. Begins August 6th, only on Netflix.
We tend to think of the past as fixed, immutable, but the reality is more complex. Our history with our own parents shifts as we get older and reach new milestones. As we become ages, we actually remember them being, and particularly if we become parents ourselves, everything about our family of origin suddenly appears in a new light. I've learned this is an especially dramatic process for people like Michelle, whose childhoods were traumatic, whose memories buried themselves out of self-protection. As Michelle has found hard-earned stability and safety in her adult life, disturbing memories have begun to reemerge. She has questions about what happened to her and her siblings, and leaving them unanswered has become unbearable. So, we got to work looking for the truth in the small rural town where we lay our scene, Hazelhurst, Georgia.
We had a Walmart and a Huddle House.
Okay, what is a Huddle House? Because we do not have Huddle House in the north. No. I've heard a lot about Hazelhurst, the town where generations of McDaniels were born and raised. It's a sleepy, rural town 3 hours outside Atlanta. Now it was time to see it for myself.
Do you know what a Waffle House is?
I just learned. I mean, I know what a Waffle House, but I didn't really Huddle House.
I had to really explain a Waffle House last night when we were driving. So.
Yeah. That is my producer, Mariah, who was also raised in the South, and Michelle, enjoying me being a fish out of water, as we chatted in a hotel room in the quaint little college town of Valdosta, where Michelle now lives. I also discovered the uniquely Southern miracle that is Buc-ee's on this trip. So it was quite the cultural exchange. These are just not things we have in the North. Wow. And then I was trying to sing her the Jonas Brothers song, and she was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
The Waffle House.
Yeah. We're gonna work it out. Yeah. I was like, no. She's like, I know. She's like, I don't listen to Jonas Brothers. And I was like, I don't listen to Jonas Brothers either.
But it's just
how
on
could you
the
have missed
radio.
this? This is everywhere. So Huddle House is like, a Huddle House is a Waffle House.
Okay,
like a Waffle House,
here's
Waffle
the
House
thing.
adjacent.
Don't say that in the South because you'll get in trouble. But I personally believe that a Huddle House is just a better Waffle House. However, that is probably the most controversial thing I will say on this podcast.
Okay, so you're talking about the hometown. In Berlin.
Walmart.
Yes, we got Walmart and a Huddle House. Okay.
Which is, I mean, that's where we hung out. Like as teenagers, we hung out in the Walmart parking lot or at the Huddle House at 2 a.m. That's what we did. And that's why we had babies so young. Because there's nothing to do. Yeah, there was nothing else to do. Like, the cops would get mad and run us off from Walmart, and then where else are you gonna go? You went home and had babies. I don't know. I don't remember where I was going with that.
The next morning, we make the drive out to the town where both Michelle and her mother, Lisa, grew up. Hazelhurst is in rural South Georgia, and we head there on a bright, chilly winter day. There are few signs of life between Valdosta and Hazelhurst. Mostly, it's long stretches of beautiful country roads. On the day we drive there, there's sunlight sifting through the rows and rows of white pine, many of them bent at tortured angles following the devastation of Hurricane Helene.
Yeah, I feel like there's
at the stop sign.
There is like I think there's gonna be a good just little moment of like Hazelhurst, Georgia is known for. Well, there was a murder. This murder. American Idol star and
90 Day Fiancé.
Angela from 90 Day Fiancé.
That wraps it up.
Remote as it is, I'm not the first true crime podcaster to come through Hazelhurst. In 2021, Fox Hunter covered the murder of Rhonda Sue Coleman, a girl in Lisa McDaniel's high school class who was killed just before they graduated. Michelle is also 1 degree away from another famous Hazelhurst native, Will Mosley, the 2024 American Idol runner-up, who is her husband's brother. They don't have any known connection, however, to the woman who is perhaps Hazelhurst's most famous resident, the truly iconic Angela from 90 Day Fiancé.
We're done.
Angela,
sit.
Angela, chill down and respect us, please.
I'm his elder. He's an idiot. You think it's funny, Michael?
As we make our way into town, Michelle points out landmarks from her past. The turnoff to her granny's house, her mother-in-law's home, and the church where her parents got married. Then, we finally arrive at the pizza joint where we're meeting Michelle's Aunt Sabrina, her mother Lisa's younger sister.
Just realized how hungry I was. Hello? Listen, this one's not on me, and I don't know why you're surprised I'm late to everything, but like...
And we're only a few minutes late.
You're always late for everything.
I know, but Andrea is too.
Yeah, so it's a combine. Boy, y'all matched. How are you?
In my defense, part of the reason we were late was because our hotel had coffee but not breakfast, and then the breakfast place had food but no coffee. And this conversation with Sabrina was going to be intense. Between that and my jet lag, tea was not going to cut it.
So, Sabrina, you're born, raised, lived all your life in Hazelhurst, or?
Yes.
Okay.
At 47, Sabrina is a few years older than me, and we have daughters the same age. I never know exactly how someone's going to feel about me coming around asking them to relive their worst traumas. But Sabrina puts us all immediately at ease with her funny, acerbic charm as we settle into one of the only restaurants in town, a dimly lit pizza joint with dark wood paneling and narrow booths. We post up in the empty party room, likely more used to hosting end-of-the-year sports banquets than nosy northerners with podcasts. Sabrina explains how she and her sister Lisa grew up.
How would you describe the town?
That's loaded. It is quiet country until something happens, and then everybody knows. Everybody knows it, and because everybody knows everybody, it's kind of like everybody tries to know your business all the time. So if something major ever happens, it's talked about for decades and decades and decades. So people do not forget it until something new happens, and then they'll talk about that and bring up. So,
you know, that so-and-so that did so-and-so back in 1997.
And it's always like, well, you know, that person is related to that, you know, you always have that kind of relation. And I've always said, man, if I can ever move And then, because you go other, like Savannah or Atlanta or somewhere, and nobody cares who your mama is, nobody cares who your grandma is or your grandpa or whatever. They're just like, oh, where are you from, you know? So it's different because everybody knows everybody, so, which is a good thing sometimes, but then people try to get in your business too much.
Nobody has anything else to do.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing else to do, which is the downfall because there's really nothing to do. So we don't have a theater. We used to have a theater and a skating ring. We don't have either one of those anymore. So it's for kid-wise and stuff like that, it's quiet, but nothing to do other than go to school and do like the school activities or stuff like that. So
I told them yesterday that's why we all have babies so young, because there's nothing else to do.
I've never really thought about it that way, but okay. I mean, that probably is a legit reason.
Andrea didn't even know what a Huddle House or Waffle House was until this year.
You said what now?
She didn't know what a Huddle House or a Waffle House was.
Wait, where are you from?
I'm going to get emails about Waffle House for the rest of my life, aren't I? Hazelhurst only has about 4,000 residents, so it's no surprise that everyone is up in each other's business. Timber is the main industry, and families and communities are tight-knit out of necessity.
Tell us about your parents.
It's weird because as you get older, like as I've gotten older and grown and had my own kids, I realized that a lot of things, especially my mom would do, was not normal, but you think it's normal because that's what you grow it up in. But like my dad, he worked, it was called Cooking Company over in Lumber City, and he worked there until it closed. So my dad, when I was younger, he worked what they called the swing shift, so he would work days and nights. So he just expected you to behave, do what you were told, and you just really didn't have any problems out of that. My mama, everybody thought my mama was great. Let me just say that. Like my friends thought she was fabulous. Everybody thought my mama was fabulous. But my mama would be like, if you don't do this, you don't love me. And y'all just don't love me the way you love your daddy, but you don't love me because you don't treat me the same as you treat your daddy. If y'all love me, y'all wouldn't do that. And it would be nothing other than we wouldn't have all the clothes washed, or we wouldn't do the dishes immediately. Typical kid things. Well, y'all just don't love me. And like then when you're growing up, you think, okay, that's just normal. Everybody kind of deals with that. But then when you get older, you realize that's not normal at all. Yeah. But like I say, all my friends loved her growing up. They thought, oh, your mama is great. But my mama, I always said my mama had a switch. It was like she was one person when she was around you, and she flipped the switch when your friends were around.
Do you think maybe that set up kind of a dynamic where you felt like you had to take care of your mom's feelings?
Yes. It definitely was let's tread lightly. Let's not do anything to upset her, because that just made the days even worse. But it was a delicate balance, because looking at it now, I see a lot of Lisa's personality was the same as my mom's. But then it was always a delicate balance. You had to dance around Mom and her feelings, but you had to tiptoe around Lisa too, because Lisa always had a keen way. She could manipulate my mama, just, you know, she could, and she would have my mama convinced that something she did, that I did, or my little sister did. And so when my daddy came home, it was like, well, what did you do that for? And I'm like, but I didn't. I didn't do it at all, you know. But she would, it was just, you always had to just tread the water, tread the water, tread the water.
On WhatsApp, no one can see or hear your personal messages. Whether it's a voice call, message, or sending a password. To WhatsApp, it's all just this. So whether you're sharing the streaming password in the family chat or trading those late-night voice messages that could basically become a podcast, Your personal messages stay between you, your friends, and your family. No one else. Not even us. WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone.
Make your next vacation unforgettable. On Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Star of the Seas. It's everything you've loved about every family vacation you've ever been on, with mind-blowing thrills at the largest water park at sea, 7 onboard pools for every level of chill, more than 40 ways to dine and drink, and even more to enjoy at our award-winning private island, Perfect Day at Coco Cay. This is the new Star of the Seas. Click or tap the banner to find out more.
Spending this time with Michelle's Aunt Sabrina was only my second opportunity to get to speak to someone who'd grown up with a perpetrator, the first being my conversations with Hope Ybarra's siblings way back in season 1. The sisters' history is lengthy and dark, and though they're not fully estranged, their relationship seems unlikely to survive Sabrina's decision to be with me today. Because Lisa's child abuse conviction more than 20 years ago, that's just the beginning of this story.
And did you have any health issues growing up?
Who?
Lisa.
No. Well, when she got to be maybe 14 or 15, and maybe it was 16, she went through the trying to make herself throw up stage. Yeah. And my daddy really got upset and got aggravated with her and kind of got in her face about it, and so she kind of quit doing it. So I think it was more of I'm just going to do it to see the attention I can get off of it, because she loved some attention.
Can you think of sort of some other examples of stuff that really struck you as her trying to get attention?
She did a lot. She would just do random things. We were at one of my dad's friend's house. Their phone rang, and it was Lisa. And she's like, somebody threw a brick through the window. And Daddy's like, well, let me go. Y'all stay here. Let me go see, what's going on. He's like, call the police, And well, he got there, and there was a big hole in the picture window where she had threw a brick through it and tried to throw a brick through the window next to it. And she will never say it was her, but it was her. I mean, she just, because they found no evidence of anybody else being in the yard, no other shoe prints, no anything like that. She would do stuff like that all the time. Anything to call and say, oh, I need help.
So even if Lisa didn't have the health history in her youth that we often see with perpetrators, there's always this common theme of deception and finding, or creating, opportunities to be a victim. One of the perpetually confusing things for me about looking back at my own childhood with my sister Megan, whose case I've covered in depth on this show previously, is that even though I do see signs of trouble looking in the rear view, my experience of our childhood together was mostly good. But for Sabrina and Lisa, not so much.
And see, that's the thing. People assume that what happened, what she did to Angelin, was like the first sign, but there were so many signs when we were growing up. My dad had this butcher knife. It was probably 10 inches long with a 3 or 4 inch handle. She would get it and chase us.
And you're the youngest.
I'm the
of three
middle.
sisters.
I'm the middle of three.
Sisters,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
So, like I said, that butcher knife, she would take it, especially my little sister. She would do it more to my little sister, but she would, for no reason, she would just randomly grab it when my parents were gone and just chase. And then, those old cast iron frying pans, she would get them and chase you around the house. And she would just do all kind of mean stuff like that, but it was never her fault. It was never, well, I just did it because I was mean, because she was. It's, well, they did X, Y, or Z, and that's why I did it. I think we were excited to get rid of her.
Just to interject, by get rid of her, Sabrina is talking about when Lisa disappeared into her relationship with her then boyfriend, now husband, Carrie. Nothing more sinister than that, at least not yet.
I mean, but then you have to understand she was just so mean to us. I mean, she did. It was never her fault. It was always somebody else's fault. You said something to her out of the way, or you looked at her funny, or, I mean, it was just random stuff, like little things that shouldn't trigger being chased by a butcher knife or a cast iron frying pan, that she would do. And then as she got older and started dating Carrie, that was when, you know, everybody wore class rings, like their boyfriend's class rings. And she would take it and turn it around, and she would hit my little sister especially upside the head with it, and she wanted attention.
It becomes clear as we dig into Lisa's backstory with Sabrina that chaos and drama have been a constant theme, and Lisa's relationship with Michelle's father, Carrie, was no exception.
When she started dating Carrie, she told my mom and dad that Carrie was 4 years older than she was. And Carrie was almost 11 years older than she is. So he was closer.
26 and 15.
Yeah.
20,
yeah.
So he was closer to like my dad and mom's age category than my sister, because it was, you know, if you're looking at, so.
I did the math one time, and he was closer to Nana's age by
Yeah.
like, I think 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the first lie. That's how it started.
The fact that this relationship began with a lie is fitting for reasons that will become clear as we go. Today, this relationship would be a crime, but at the time in Georgia, the age of consent was 14. Yikes.
And then it was one lie after another lie after another lie after another lie, and then my mom and dad just got to the point that they just didn't believe anything. By the time she got married, she had caused so much chaos and drama with her relationship with Carrie that you just got tired of hearing the arguing at nighttime. You just got tired of hearing it, and so it was just like, yeah, let's get rid of her.
Once Lisa was out of high school and married to Carrie, it wasn't long before they got busy doing what the rest of Lisa's peers were doing, making babies.
And then, so they got married after high school, and then she gets pregnant with...
Yeah, but I was excited she was having Michelle, you know, and, you know, everything was good for a little while. I don't know if you remember, but...
Yeah, I remember when I was born.
No, I mean, you were born, and you were just a few months old. She started getting left with, like, at our house all the time. So...
Like I did?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, but even before that, WM, which is Carrie's dad, had money, and they were spending it left, right, and sideways. So they were kind of always going somewhere. When she got pregnant with Michelle, that brought her a lot of attention, you know. And so she was good to stay at home for a little while because, you know, it got her so much attention, you know. And then when Michelle got a few months old, it was like, okay, the attention kind of faded away. So it was like, okay. And of course, you know, she's a baby. Everybody wants to keep a baby. Yes, we liked you because you were a baby and kid.
There is always a pattern of troubling behavior that precedes Munchausen by proxy abuse. And that's why these narratives from family members are so crucial. They were there for all of the foreshadowing. But there is the question of why and how pregnancy and motherhood kicks this into high gear. My kids are 6 and 2, so I've been through this period of my life pretty recently. In the best case scenario, pregnancy and having a brand new baby aren't crisis situations in and of themselves, but they command a similar sort of all hands on deck attention, especially on your first one. People send food and gifts and go out of their way to come and meet and hold your precious little potato. So it's easy to see why this could kick attention-seeking behaviors into high gear. And after this period of attention ended, Lisa didn't seem to have much attachment to or interest in little baby Michelle.
She was at our house so much, she called me Mama before she called her Mama.
Is that real? Are you making that
I'm
up?
dead serious. I'm dead serious. You started saying Mama one day at Mama. Well, I wasn't married then. I was still living at home. And it was she was calling me Mama. And I'm like, I hate you. I love you, but I'm not your mama.
Because you're a teenager.
Yeah, I'm a teenager. So I'm like, I love you, but I'm not your mama. Yeah, most of the time when we got her, like they would drop her off on the weekend, I guess like when he would be off. And she would stay 3 or 4 days, and they would come get her, and then when the weekend comes, she'd stay 3 or 4 days and they'd get back. I don't know. Lisa really never worked.
Like how was Lisa as a mom in that time period?
Well, it's kind of hard to say because when Michelle was first born and was a baby, she seemed to be attentive and everything, but then she started, leaving her at everybody else's house. So I would say, part-time mom, maybe. I mean, for lack of better, because it was just hard to get that feel because she was always at our house or at W and Bernice's house. So she was never really around parenting her. I mean, like I say, it's hard to kind of gauge what kind of parent she was because she always left her. And then I got pregnant with my oldest one, and she was born in 96. She was born in October of 96, but when I got pregnant with her, of course, you get a lot of attention when you announce you're pregnant and everything. And you could just tell in Lisa's face and how she acted that she could not stand it. She absolutely hated it. She could not stand it. And just how dare you take any spotlight away from her, which of course was not my intent. Then the next thing we know, she was pregnant with Angelin. Fabulous, I was happy for her. Who wouldn't, be happy for somebody, having a child if that's what they want to do. My oldest was born in October, and then right after that, it was one thing after another after another. I fell down the doorsteps. I need to go to the ER. I fell down the doorsteps again. I've called the ambulance. Just all kind of little things like that. And the reality is she never fell down the doorsteps. She threw herself down the doorsteps one time. The reason why I think she threw herself down the doorsteps is because the way they said she landed right with the edge of the doorstep right directly in her stomach. Anyway, that triggered the whole series of events with Angelin coming early.
She fell and she went into labor.
She got pregnant on purpose as a way to get attention for herself, but I don't know that she ever really planned on actually the baby surviving, if that makes sense what I'm saying.
This insinuation that Lisa got pregnant with Michelle's little sister Angelin and then interfered with that pregnancy to draw attention to herself might sound shocking, but to me, it's all too familiar. Fake pregnancies followed by fake dramatic miscarriages, along with real pregnancies followed by induced obstetrical complications and premature births, are absolutely textbook in these cases. The timing of my older sister's pregnancy hoax is a good example of this. It came right in the middle of a falling out with my parents after she had committed check fraud, which, for the record, they did bail her out of. And it also came right on the heels of her boyfriend breaking up with her after discovering she'd been abusive with his son. Most people would never use it, but a pregnancy can be a pretty powerful trump card. And Lisa was a master at dragging people into her warped version of reality.
When you get so good at telling a lie, she has an uncanny ability to make people believe, well, not us anymore, but she can make people believe just about anything she wants them to, about anybody. And it's, how do you get that dark? Like, how do you, I don't understand how people cannot see the true color she is. It's a never-ending cycle. It's one thing after another, and I hardly ever communicate with her because it's just every time you do, you're just waiting on that knife to get twisted a little bit further and a little bit further. And you get to the point where it's like, look, I forgave you. I have never told her I forgive her. I forgive her for my peace, not for hers. I forgave her for me, for my inner peace. But it's just constant. And that's the reason why I don't have a lot to do with her, because every time you talk to her, it opens a gate for her to twist it a little bit more. And in my adult life, I don't have room for that. And I don't want my kids to learn that. I don't want my kids to have to deal with that and think that that's acceptable because that's somebody who's related to you. But that doesn't mean you have to accept how they act or what they do. She's my sister. Do I love her? Yes. But I love her from a distance because I don't have to accept her in my life.
Making a show like this, you have to watch out for people who want to settle a score or punish someone who's harmed them. It's too precarious of a place to be in when you're taking the vulnerable step of sharing something like this. I sympathize deeply with people who want to make abusers pay, but we just don't do revenge journeys here on this show. We look for the truth and we tell it. What happens next isn't really up to me. I look for people who really share the ethos of this show, which is about bringing this abuse to light, about protecting kids, and educating those who we've trusted to do so. It's why I knew that despite how harrowing this particular case is, Michelle was up for the challenge. I've watched her wrestle with the decision to go public. I've watched her interrogate her own motives, and that's why I'm so sure they're the right ones.
I'm sitting here outside on the balcony in San Diego preparing for a conference on Munchausen by proxy and being able to speak. I know that I've really struggled with doing this because my mom does this. My mom travels and she talks to doctors and she gives presentations. She's given presentations here in San Diego. And I've been so nervous and worried, does that make me like her? I'm sitting here and just kind of hits me that this is not built on lies for me. This is not built on manipulation. I just told the truth.
Lisa McDaniel would like you to believe that the version of her found online is the real her. The Lisa who has, according to the Guthrie Jackson Foundation's website, educated more than 50,000 people on her son's rare disorder.
My name's Lisa McDaniel. I think I know most of you. What I do is I go out and I talk to doctors and hospitals, really anybody who wants to listen to me in my Southern charm. So the way I started was with my son's pediatrician, told her what I was wanting to do, because as you guys know, sometimes our doctors don't know. What I normally do is start with a personal story. Make it personal. You need to get their attention because you want to make sure they understand your disease. I always start off with a little story about Colin. You can pick your own story. Grab their attention right away. That's the easiest way to make sure they're hearing and listening to you. It's very simple and very easy to do. Any questions?
Well, since you asked, Lisa, actually, I do have a few questions for you. This season on Nobody Should Believe Me.
I'm actually amazed from what you're telling me that this child lived through this.
He said, "Do you think your sister's doing something to her?" I'm like, don't ever say that again.
Neither one of those children were suffering because of a disease.
How somebody could do that to a child that was so little and so helpless still to this day haunts me.
The judge gave full custody back to them. I stood up and I told him, I hope you don't sleep when you go home tonight. You have no idea what you've done and you should be ashamed of yourself.
There's a pattern. This fits a pattern and it is lethal Munchausen by proxy.
The longer it sits with me and the more I think about all these things that doctor said, the more I am so pissed off.
As a caregiver, you pour yourself into advocacy and helping other people. That's who I am at heart, as a helper.
My mother tortured my brother, and these doctors and this hospital went along with it, and they co-signed on it, and they helped her torture him.
Nobody Should Believe Me is written, hosted, and executive produced by me, Andrea Dunlop. Our supervising producer is Mariah Gossett. Our senior producer is Taj Easton. Assistant editor and associate producer is Greta Stromquist. Research and fact-checking by Aaron Ajayi. Engineering and mixing by Robin Edgar. And administrative producing by Nola Carmouche. Music provided by Blue Dot Sessions, SoundSnap, and Slipstream Media. Special thanks to Michelle Roberts, Aunt Sabrina, and the fine folks at Village Pizza in Hazelhurst for letting us monopolize their party room for many hours.
All right, Andrea, thank you so much for coming on Pretend to talk about the new season of Nobody Should Believe Me. Thank you for letting me be part of True Story Media. I'm super excited to collaborate with you and with the other podcasters in the group. And I hope everyone checks out Nobody Should Believe Me. If you haven't, I mean, you can start season 1. It's amazing. But you could pick up season 6. They're all anthologized, right?
So we have 6 full seasons of the show that you can listen to it in their entirety, because even though all of season 6 has not aired, we do make the entire thing available for subscribers on the day that it launches. That's something we've been doing for the last couple of seasons. It's been very popular. I have been counseling people not to binge this one too fast. Lots of people have not listened, but that's okay. We are here to, we have this amazing community that's really formed around the show. So we've gotten really incredible feedback from people from this season so far. But yes, we have 6 seasons, and then there's a lot of other content. We have the show in an always on format, which Javier, you and I can get into all the vagaries of the business around podcasting, but does become kind of a necessity when you're an independent show. And I love it because it gives me an opportunity to, touch back on cases from previous seasons, talk about, do sort of smaller story arcs on cases that we're covering, talk to podcasters like you about what you're doing, and all kinds of stuff like that. So you can also check out all of those episodes, which we call our Case Files episodes.
Awesome. Well, all right, everybody, go stop what you're doing. Go check out season 6 of Nobody Should Believe Me. And thank you, Andrea, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Javier, and welcome to True Story Media. We're so pleased to have you. Creative